Welcome back to Crack Attack. So I put up a poll a while ago asking you which of these 4 horror shows you want to see me talk about. And it's clear to see that Tales from the Crypt won by a long shot. So I went all in and did an episode covering 4 different episodes of Tales from the Crypt, all in the one video. One of those episodes is the new arrival, which is one of the highest rated of the show, both by fans and critics. Unfortunately, it was buried inside that video and it didn't get the attention it deserved. So because this episode is such a big deal, I thought I'd dig it out of the grave and give it the attention it deserves, by giving it its own video. If you're not familiar with Tales from the Crypt, which you should be, you bollocks, it's a HBO Horror Anthology TV show that was adapted from a series of comics from the 1950s that were so graphic they were basically banned. Because the show aired on HBO, they had no problem replicating the graphic nature of the comics for a TV show format. But they were also considering a wider audience beyond premium cable, so they went and did PG versions of each episode without the gore or nudity, in case they ever got approached by a broadcast TV station to air the show on there. And they did eventually, because Fox bought it for a late night Saturday slot in 1994. So by the looks of things, it's evident that the creators were very meticulous and had everything planned out. I don't know if any of you are Steely Dan fans, but these guys were like the Walter Becker and Donald Fagen of TV. The show was created by William Gaines, who originally published the comics, and Stephen Dodd. But for most people it doesn't stand out for its creators. What makes it stand out is the massive amount of Hollywood actors and guest directors who worked on the show. Everyone wanted to be a part of this show. Tales from the Crypt ran from 1989 to 1996 with 7 seasons and 93 episodes in total. On top of that, it has had 3 movie spin-offs based on it, but there were 2 movies from the 70s that served as precursors to the show. A game show with the Crypt Keeper as the host that aired on CBS on Saturday mornings, and even a kids show called Tales from the Crypt Keeper. But enough of the show in general, let's talk about the main attraction here, the episode, The New Arrival. It's the 7th episode of the 4th season, and it's based on the original story, The New Arrival, which is from the EC comic book Haunt of Fear. This is one of those genuinely scary episodes that causes me to just have a straight face the whole way through. There wasn't one point during my watch through that I smiled. I didn't crack a smile once, and I didn't laugh either. Because rather than merging comedy with horror like a lot of the other episodes, it fully focuses on eeriness and horror. I'll just shut up and get into the episode. The episode opens up with the Crypt Keeper confessing to a therapist that he can't seem to take a joke
I'm in a choke
anymore, just like the guy in tonight's tale. He opens up the book and begins the story. We're shown a guy called Lothar, I could be pronouncing his name wrong, I don't know, played by Robert Patrick. He hosts his own radio show here. This time he's talking absolute rubbish about having sex with ghosts. On the way out after finishing his episode, another radio host, who's a child psychologist by the name of Dr Goetz, asks him if his mother knows he talks that way on the radio. He says he doesn't know, but he does know one thing. He's going to try to steal his time slot on the radio apparently. Dr Goetz sits down and does his job. He answers questions from parents who are worried about their children, live on the radio. A woman called Nora phones in, and Dr Goetz gets pissed off because she has phoned in one too many times about her daughter Felicity, who apparently has done insane things. For example,
burning the house down, writing on the wall with feces,
Of course
trying
not.
to electrocute the cat.
Nora's problem is that Felicity has been banging her head on the wall and screaming, and she wants Dr Goetz to come out to the house and help her out. Surprisingly, he agrees.
We're making a house call.
You can't do that yet.
But by the looks of it, only because of how pissed off he is at the excruciating amount of times that Nora has called him. He wants to settle this once and for all, and he's very confident in succeeding as well.
There isn't a child in existence that I can't help.
Anyways, he's brought management along with him. This includes his producer Bonnie and his bitchy boss, who clearly doesn't want to be here, because she argues with Dr Goetz, claiming that he's holding her hostage. Straight after that, she tries to open the door to the house, which wasn't a very good idea, because it was rigged with an electric shock. That's when Nora comes to the door to welcome everyone in with a smile. And a scream apparently. She bribes Felicity to stop screaming by offering her bubblegum. But Dr. Goetz stops her because bribes reinforce bad behaviour. So he gives her a book that he wrote himself called The Art of Ignoring Your Child. But she already has it, along with a heap of other child psychology books. While Nora is fetching a cup of coffee, everyone discusses their doubts. For example, Rona doesn't even believe that there's a child upstairs. They go upstairs in an attempt to settle their doubts by finding the child to have a chat. Upstairs, Rona spots the child. Out of all people, it had to be Rona, didn't it? So she decides to be an idiot by following the child up to the attic. That doesn't work out too well as expected. Because now she's dead. Meanwhile, Dr. Goetz and Bonnie enter Felicity's bedroom and discover an absolute shit ton of really weird toys. They come to the conclusion that what they're dealing with isn't a child at all. They think it's a fantasy child and that maybe Nora is role-playing as the child because of how small she is, and that therefore she's living a double life. That's when they discover Nora's body. Made a little mistake there, Rona's body, not Nora. And then all the doors shut themselves, but one door is unlocked. It's the one that goes up to the attic. When they go up to the top of the stairs, they spot Felicity down at the bottom.
Nora?
Dr. Goetz tries to make his way down to her, but she shuts the door on him before he gets to her. Meanwhile, the ceiling fan rips Bonnie to shreds and knocks Dr. Goetz out. So while he was knocked out, Nora saw it as the perfect opportunity to tie him up.
Now look here, you sick bitch! If you don't untie me now, I'm gonna kick your f***ing head!
Nora leaves to go and fetch Felicity, and when she arrives, Dr. Goetz kindly offers for her to sit on his lap so that he can perform some love therapy on her. Ultimately, to bribe her into untying him so that he can try to choke her out.
The only way to beat bad behavior is with worse behavior! Hey, Nora, I know it's you!
But he discovers that his hypothesis has been wrong the whole time. It's not Nora dressed as a little girl. It's a disgusting zombie that's been dead for over 40 years. Nora turns Dr. Goetz around to reveal to him all the other child psychologists who have visited over the years but haven't been able to help, and they're all decomposed bodies. None of them knew what to do to help Felicity, apparently, according to Nora. Nora puts on Felicity's favourite radio show, which just so happens to be Dr. Goetz's least favourite radio show.
Today we're gonna talk about sex.
It's the one featuring the weirdo from the start of the episode who was yapping on about having sex with ghosts. The Crypt Keeper shows up to say,
You were right, Doc. A little smotherly love was all I needed.
and that he's sending this doctor to join the others. And that's where the episode ends. I can see why this episode was rated as highly as it is, because the premise of it is so explorative and unique. I felt like I was actually watching behind the scenes footage of a radio show at the start when Dr. Goetz came on. So that just shows how realistic it was. Well, up until the point where we're introduced to a zombie girl who haunted a house for 40 years, that is. That's when everything got all eerie and the scary stuff started happening. Like the first sighting of the zombie child, Felicity. Rona wasn't even a tad freaked out by the fact that she was running past her like that, down the hallway. Rather than getting the hell out of that house, she decided to go follow the child, which led to her death. The second death was absolutely brutal though. Bonnie got impaled by this ceiling fan somehow. Obviously, the scariest part has to be when Dr. Goetz accidentally unmasks Felicity after trying to choke her to death. And we find out that she's not actually an innocent little girl, she's a revolting zombie that has been haunting the house for 40 years. Imagine Nora didn't interrupt Dr. Goetz while he was choking Felicity out. He'd have killed the bitch, which would have been a deviation from your average Tales from the Crypt episode. Anyways, just looking at that bitch dressed as a child and performing childlike mannerisms, like dancing around in circles at the end to her apparent favourite radio show, creeps me the hell out. There are some Tales from the Crypt episodes, I say some, I mean many, that are just laughable, but this one is the opposite, it's freaky. I reckon it's one of the most intense episodes. Anyways, that's about all I have to say, so I'm gonna call it a day. If you have any other episodes from Tales from the Crypt or other shows you'd like to see me talk about, drop them down in the comments, I'll take a look at them. Nice one, see ya.